It is Wednesday, the 19th of November, 2025. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm Nate Eaton. Thank you for watching Courtroom Insider tonight. Hope you had a good day. Halfway through the week. Weekend's almost here. Thanksgiving is in a week, if you can believe it or not. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? You got any fun plans? We're still deciding what we're going to do. I think we're going to actually stay home, just the five of us, and have our own little Thanksgiving here at the house and cook. I'll do some cooking, or I don't know, something. Anyway, I hope you have some good Thanksgiving plans if you're in America. If you're not, happy Thursday to you. Years and years ago, I was flying to Australia on the week of Thanksgiving. We left on Wednesday and got there on Friday. So I missed Thanksgiving completely, which was fine. They served turkey on the plane though. So there you go. All right, back to what we're talking about tonight. In just a few minutes, Justin Lum from Fox 10 Phoenix will be here talking about a new documentary that comes out today that he has been producing, working on since the beginning of the year, called No Way to Die. And it is about a 13-year-old girl, just a horrible, tragic story, who was found in a dumpster by some women who were looking for like soda cans. And he has been exploring this case, which actually happened back in 2013, but it's taken a decade for this family to finally get justice. No Way to Die, the murder of Claudia Lucero. Justin will be here to talk about that, and I'll show you a little clip of that documentary here in just a moment. But before we get to that, we have some court filings to talk about in the Stacy Wondra case. This is the man accused of killing little Michael Vaughan back in 2021 in Fruitland, Idaho. I want to show you, first of all, to give you an idea of where East Idaho is versus Fruitland. A lot of people who aren't from here think, oh, Idaho, everything's an hour away. I lived on the East Coast. I lived in Virginia, where you could get to a lot of places within an hour or two. But I'm going to pull up Google Maps here, and I'll show you on the screen here. So Idaho Falls, where I'm at right now, is right here. And then the distance, it's so funny to me what pops up on these maps. KFC, the Hilton Garden Inn, Touché, and the fairgrounds. Those are the things that pop up. KFC is right there in the middle. I don't know what KFC pays for that, but it got my attention. So Idaho Falls to Fruitland, Idaho, which is where these crimes occurred. It's a 4.5 hour drive. It's 4 hours to get to Boise, and then you go past that, you're almost into the Washington state border. So you can see that this has been somewhat of a difficult thing to investigate, to look into, and because it's so far physically. If this were just down the street, we would have been doing a lot more coverage. So we're relying on our partners in Boise, who have done a great job at the Idaho Statesman, KIVI TV, and some other websites. But tonight, what I want to do is go through some of filings about in the case that have been filed, mainly the probable cause hearing, which will show you the information that they have. And it's interesting that they did not go through a grand jury indictment on this. If they had gone with a grand jury indictment, we would not have a probable cause document. Instead, we have a document that is, let me look how many pages long. It doesn't have the page numbers on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's a lot of pages in the probable cause. I want to go through it with you tonight, and it hopefully is not too upsetting, too depressing. And let me just do that for you right now. I'll try to make these words a little bit bigger so that you can see them and you can follow along. So the charges, before I get to that, interesting to me that this was filed back in June, but it's been sealed since June. So they have been planning this for some time, for months, but it's been sealed. Charging first-degree murder, kidnapping, and destruction or concealing of evidence. On July 21st, this is the officer who is doing the probable cause document. What is a probable cause document? You give this to a judge that that proves you have enough probable cause to arrest the person and charge them with a crime. So this document was prepared, went to the judge. Judge signed off on it. They were able to arrest this suspect. Here is the probable cause information. July 27, 2021, neighbors reported seeing 5-year-old Michael James Vaughan. That name is redacted, but we know that's who it is. Between approximately 6:15 p.m. and 6:30 in the area of the home, Michael's home, and nearby residents on the streets. Michael knocked on some of the neighbors' doors, attempting to play with neighbors or in their yards. Michael was told to return home by all of the neighbors he contacted. This is so sad to me. I have kids. I have a 7-year-old boy that will say, "Can I go play at the moats down the street?" And he'll take off running and knock on their door. And if they can't play, he comes home. This is just so upsetting what happened. At approximately 6:45 to 6:50, Tyler Vaughan noticed his 5-year-old son, Michael, was missing from their home. He began searching the home and property for him, called 911 to report his son missing at 7:21, and the Fruitland police responded. Fruitland police and the FBI, along with local agencies, searched for Michael for several weeks and now years. Through interviews, searches, and other corroborating evidence, all of Michael's family and household members have been determined not to have any knowledge of his current location, nor were they involved in his disappearance. So police have ruled out the neighbors. Police have ruled out the family and anyone that lived in the house. Family members have been ruled out. All of Michael's neighbors on Southwest 9th Street in Arizona have been thoroughly investigated, searched, and interviewed, and have been determined by law enforcement to not have knowledge of his disappearance. The surrounding area was extensively searched, and Michael has never been found. Live Scent canine teams searched the surrounding neighborhoods August 2nd to 3rd on 2021 using a pair of Michael's shoes for Michael's scent. Out of approximately 300 homes, canine handlers reported the dogs only showed interest in one house in Fruitland, the home of Stacy and Sarah Wondra. A canine handler also reported that Canine Banshee showed interest in the area of the corner of Meadowlark and Red Wing Street. The canine showed interest at this intersection and then headed straight to the fence and front door of the Wondra's residence. On August 2nd, Canine Banshee tracked scent down to a tree over the edge of the bluff off of Southwest 8th and Three Rivers Way. Canine Banshee was determined to track the scent into a thorny bush, the thorny bushes under the tree, despite the thorns. A discarded child's stroller was located deep in those thorny bushes. On August 5th, 2021, a pink Big Flyer tricycle was located behind the bluff sign at Three Rivers Way and Southwest 8th Street. During a search of the same area the day prior, the tricycle was not there. Jim Smith, who lives in the subdivision, later reported he found the tricycle over the bluff under a tree next to a child's stroller. Jim said he took it home to use one of the wheels for another project, but then discarded it after not removing the wheel as planned. Jim said he left it behind the bluff sign for neighborhood kids to use. Kim Elko would later report to law enforcement that she had seen the tricycle in the Wondra's garage during a yard sale in the spring of 2021. Elko was able to describe the layout of the Wondra's garage and where she saw the tricycle on a stack of boxes. She described the described stack of boxes was still there during a later search of the Wondra residence and garage. Dorothy Starkey, who was present at, and her address is redacted, reported on July 29th, 2021, she saw Michael riding a big wheel tricycle at the corner of Red Wing Street and Meadowlark Avenue on July 27th as she was either entering or leaving the neighborhood. Dorothy is seen on surveillance videos coming into the neighborhood at 6:25 and leaving the neighborhood at 7:25. Other than Dorothy's report, there are no other reports of Michael being seen anywhere other than Southwest 9th Street and his next-door neighbor's house on Arizona on the date of his disappearance. Video surveillance was gathered from security cameras in the neighborhood Michael disappeared from, as well as the neighboring areas. Michael is never seen on any of the surveillance footage that was obtained. Stacy Wondra is captured on surveillance footage driving a white Lexus and pulling into the parking area of the splash pad in the neighborhood off Southwest 8th Street at 3:23 on July 27th. Stacy is seen exiting the driver's door, walking around to the passenger side of the car, and appears to be testing the exterior door handle to see if it's locked. Stacy then walked back around the driver's side of the vehicle where he got into the driver's seat and exited the area onto Southwest 8th Street at 7:24, 1 minute after arriving. Video surveillance shows an adult male walking in the area of Three Rivers at 1808, that's 6:08 on July 27, 2021, and the same male is captured walking in the area of the neighborhood splash pad at 6:18. The last image of the male is captured at 6:28 as he walked through the wooded area to the west back towards the area in which the Wondras lived. Brandon Shirtliff was identified in 2022 as being this person and told detectives during an interview that the surveillance video captured him as he was walking and searching for a missing child on the date Michael disappeared. The video captured Brandon walking prior to Michael being reported missing. Brandon reported that he was living with the Wondras on that date. Pause. Doesn't this all just sound so ominous? Just so... You just don't have a good feeling about this. On August 1st, 2021, Fruitland police contacted the residents. On their initial search of the residence, they located Adrian Lucin hiding in a closet. Residents of the home on that date and on July 27th were identified as married couple Stacy and Sarah Wondra and their sublets Brandon Shirtliff and Adrian Lucin. All were interviewed on August 1st, 2021. So they searched the Wondra house on August 1st. Adrian was vague in his statements and he's hiding in the closet and wouldn't commit to a solid statement. He also refused to provide his social security number for identification confirmation. He provided Stacy's phone number as his own and concealed his real phone number from law enforcement. Again, red flags. On August 21st, Sarah reported that on July 27th, she and Stacy slept until noon. Sarah said they left their residence around 5 o'clock to tow a vehicle to Cuna. Sarah and Stacy denied they were home around 6:30 on July 27th. Cell phone tower data and surveillance footage show Stacy, Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon were in the area of the neighborhood at the time of Michael's disappearance. Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon returned to Fruitland, verified by surveillance, in Sarah's blue Toyota Corolla at 5:08, only to leave again at 5:12. The Toyota then came back into the neighborhood again at 5:56. Surveillance footage shows Sarah driving the maroon GMC pickup on July 27th as she drove out of the neighborhood at 7:08. Stacy has been identified as the front passenger, and Brandon was the driver's side rear passenger. Stacy, Sarah, and Brandon's phone data showed they were co-located as they left the neighborhood at 7:08 and drove to Cuna. Adrian's phone did not provide any location data during the evening of July 27th. However, he took a selfie in the guest bathroom at the Wondra residence at 7:26. Wondra's maroon GMC pickup truck is captured on surveillance footage returning to their Fruitland neighborhood at 23:22, which is 11:22 p.m. on July 27th, 2021, pulling or towing a silver Mercedes-Benz. Following Michael's disappearance, Sarah had a distinct change in behavior. Following his disappearance, Sarah began to stand along the highway near Love's gas station in Ontario, Oregon, with signs stating to repent of your sins and that the end of time was near. Sarah's social media posts on TikTok and Facebook also changed drastically to religion and asking for forgiveness of her sins. Prior to Michael's abduction, Sarah had only posted approximately 11 videos on TikTok over 3 years. Following his abduction, Sarah posted approximately 329 videos from September 15th, 2021 through Christmas Eve on 2021. In TikTok videos Sarah posted, she made testimony statements, in quotes, regarding her involvement in criminal behaviors and stated that she had broken all 10 of the 10 commandments. It should be noted that thou shalt not kill is one of the 10 commandments. Pause there. Interesting that the officer included that. It should be noted that thou shalt not kill is one of the 10 commandments. This is a very detailed probable cause. I have been through probable cause hundreds of times in my life. Some are short, 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph. Some are detailed like this. You can tell, I mean, obviously they've had several years to put this together, but they are laying out their case. And can you picture in your mind the witnesses who will be called to testify of these things. You've got the cell phone guy, the surveillance footage. You've got all the neighbors, the 300 neighbors. You've got the guy that saw the trike and the stroller in the bush. You've got the neighbor that saw, you've got all these people, and I can see the witness list building. Let's keep going. Sarah also alleged in her videos that it did not matter what sin she had committed because God had forgiven her for all of them. Michael's missing person flyer can be seen on her refrigerator in the background of some of her videos. Sarah was interviewed again by law enforcement on November 15th, 2021. Stacy was also interviewed. After being confronted with her photo of her leaving the neighborhood on July 27th, driving the GMC pickup at 7:08, she changed her story and said she was driving the GMC to get Brandon's Mercedes from Cuna to tow it back to Fruitland. Sarah said the trip to Cuna to get the car had not been previously planned and that it was Stacy who wanted to go get the car at that date and time. Sarah said she stopped at Southwest 8th in South Arizona on the way to get out of the neighborhood to input the address into the GPS. She said she drove to an address in Cuna, which is Brandon's mother's home. It's worth noting that Brandon was in the truck with them when they entered the GPS coordinates to go to Brandon's mother's house, and that Sarah's and Brandon's cell phone data showed them at the residence earlier that day. Sarah said Brandon's mother, Tina Morelli, was out of town. Sarah said Tina did not allow Brandon to have people in her home when she was not there, so Stacy and Sarah parked down the road, and Brandon used a back gate on the south side to enter Tina's residence so that her doorbell camera did not capture him there. Sarah reported that while towing the car back to Fruitland, the tow strap broke. Stacy and Sarah sold their phones, lost or sold their vehicles, and got rid of their furniture shortly after Michael went missing. Sarah was asked about changing her phones following the abduction. Sarah provided two reasons. One, they sold their phones because she and Stacy were splitting up, and Sarah said they sold their phones because a demon told her to. Sarah was still paying on the phones that she sold. Sarah was asked about her Facebook post and provided the following responses. I literally had like a demon tell me that I needed to leave my husband. I literally deleted all of my pictures. I have no idea what my passwords are. We had a fight. My husband and I had to sell our phones and we had to get new phones and I can't access any of my stuff. So I do have Facebook, just don't have access to it right now. When asked about the vehicle Sarah and Stacy have, Sarah said the GMC pickup was repossessed. Sarah said she told Stacy when she heard the repo guys were coming to take the truck, quote, "We are going to be the nicest repo they ever had today." Law enforcement was later told that the truck appeared to have been thoroughly cleaned prior to the repo. Following the interview on November 15th, Brandon reported Sarah and Stacy contacted him and told him they were re-interviewed about Michael's abduction. Brandon said Stacy suggested Brandon come over to their place and create an alibi or write a letter on behalf of Sarah and Stacy saying they were not involved in the abduction. Tina, Brandon's mother, was interviewed by law enforcement. She reported that Brandon's behavior changed after he lived with the Wondras. Tina explained that Brandon became more depressed and withdrawn, spending more time playing video games and smoking marijuana. Tina would not tell law enforcement where Brandon was or what his phone number was at that time. Kay Ramsey, Sarah's mother, was interviewed and shown a picture of the tricycle described above. Kay claims she found the tricycle in some bushes prior to Michael's abduction. The bushes that Kay described are near where Mr. Smith found the tricycle just after Michael's abduction. Kay said that would be her reason. Her DNA would be on the tricycle. Kay said that after all of her efforts, she left it at the intersection of Three Rivers Way and Southwest 8th Street. Kay was 73 years old in July of 2021, and the bushes were difficult to get to. Kay Ramsey also confirmed to law enforcement that Sarah and Stacy's dog had dug holes in the backyard of the Red Wing residence. Kay reported the dog had dug up what she later determined to be the ear of a green stuffed animal. Kay said she had thrown away the stuffed ear. Kay Ramsey is alleged to have withheld information and or evidence in other criminal investigations involving Sarah in 2022. Kay was initially charged... Then, Kay initially concealed a firearm used in an aggravated assault in which Sarah was later convicted. We're going to pause there. We're almost done. Thanks for your patience. Sarah is serving time for this conviction, and Stacy was in Arizona serving time, and now he's being extradited back to Idaho. So he'll soon face these charges here. Within 30 days, they'll bring him back. Maricopa County, which seems to know Idaho well lately. Okay, let me keep going. When law enforcement met with Sarah on October 12th, 2022, Sarah said that God told her he was going to help her find the boy. During the interview, at the first mention of Michael, Sarah became emotional and broke down crying in front of the detective. Sarah wrote a testimony and said that if law enforcement read it, they would locate Michael. Sarah suggested God had forgiven Hitler for his sins, that God had redeemed Sarah for her sins. Christy Kutch told detectives prior to Sarah's arrest in April of 22, she made a statement about Stacy being involved in the abduction of a 5-year-old boy. Christy said she made personal notes of their conversation. In June of 2022, there was a recorded jail phone call between Sarah and Christy, where Sarah advised Stacy had been arrested. Christy asked if he'd been charged with the kidnapping of a 5-year-old boy. Sarah recanted her prior statements, claiming that Christy misunderstood her prior comments. Also mentioned how Sarah's dog was digging large holes in the backyard. On November 5th, 2022 at 1:55 a.m., Sarah, or 12:55 a.m., Sarah contacted Fruitland Police and requested an interview at the Washington County Jail. Stacy contacted police. Stacy provided vague details about events surrounding Michael's abduction. Stacy said Sarah's religious beliefs and behavior changes started within a couple days after Michael's abduction. After Stacy's arrest from an unrelated incident, Stacy spoke of changing phones and/or SIM cards to prevent law enforcement to follow or profile him. On November 10th, Stacy again asked to speak with Fruitland police detectives. Stacy wanted a deal, the same offer that was given to Sarah in the Michael Vaughan case. Stacy admitted Michael had been at the house the night of his abduction. Stacy admitted the tricycle had been in his garage where Kim Elko had previously described seeing it. Stacy then said that when he first saw Michael, Sarah was carrying Michael into their home. Stacy said Michael was put into a duffel bag to transport him out of their house and to Brandon's house in Kuna. Stacy said Sarah was frantically trying to figure out what to do, and Brandon interjected, "I have a duffel bag." Stacy described Michael as crying. And to prevent him from moving or making noise, Stacy described how Sarah taped Michael using duct tape. When asked who put Michael in the bag, Stacy said Brandon grabbed the bag and gave it to Sarah. Sarah picked up Michael as Adrian helped hold the sides of the bag open as they shoved Michael into the duffel bag. Stacy described Michael was wiggling, trying to get away. Stacy said he could see Michael in the bag with his knees bent up in the fetal position. While describing and demonstrating how Michael was taped and stuffed into a duffel bag in his living room, Stacy had a physical reaction and began violently vomiting. When asked if she was vomiting because of the chewing tobacco he was using, he indicated he was throwing up because of the stress of talking about Michael. Stacy provided 2 reasons they stopped in the GMC at the corner of Southwest 8th and South Arizona and Fruitland. 1, for Stacy to put power steering fluid into the vehicle, and 2, so Brandon could check to see if Michael was still alive, because Michael was bound with duct tape and stuffed into a duffel bag in the bed of the truck. Stacy said he was able to hear Michael making noises like, quote, a dull scream. Stacy said they were worried about being seen because they saw a car parked off South Arizona. Stacy said they drove straight to Brandon's mother's house in Kuna, where Brandon grabbed both bags, the duffel containing Michael in a backpack, and went into the house by himself. Stacy said that once they arrived in Kuna, Michael was not making any more noises, and none of them had checked on Michael to verify he was still alive. Stacy said that Brandon told him he left Michael in the bag and put him in the spare room inside his mother's house. They then towed Brandon's car back to Fruitland. Stacy said that Sarah, Brandon, and Adrian went to Kuna the next day to get Michael. The 3 of them brought Michael's body back to the house in Fruitland. He stated that he was inside. Brandon was, quote, on guard, and Sarah and Adrian dug a hole together. Stacy reported he did not previously report this information because he thought he would still get into trouble and because he was fearful of Sarah hurting him. In an interview, Stacy said that Michael had a stuffed animal. Quote, some sort of a stuffed animal, I want to say like a dinosaur or a monkey. What I saw was a monkey, was a green and looked like a green monkey. In one interview, Stacy advised the lime green monkey was a dog toy and that he and Sarah gave him to keep him quiet while he was sitting on the couch in their living room. Additionally, Stacy stated that the idea was to take the child to sell for money. That was Adrian's idea, and they would get a $10,000 cut. Stacy was asked if Sarah provided any direction throughout any part of this. Stacy said that Sarah asked him and Brandon to, quote, follow her lead, which was to, quote, take the kid. Stacy recalled that most of the conversation at that point was Sarah trying to figure out what they were going to do. Sarah had asked Brandon where we should put the body, and Brandon was like, well, you guys can take him over to my house, and we'll deal with it, and that will buy us some time. Following the interview with law enforcement, Stacy called his mother, Tamara Johnson, from the Washington County Jail on a video visit. Tamara asked Stacy if Michael was alive. Stacy shook his head no and said Sarah accidentally killed him. Tamara asked how. Stacy said suffocation, and went on to say they buried him in a duffel bag. After his interview and phone call to his mother, Stacy wrote an apology letter to Michael's parents and then attempted to hang himself in his jail cell, but he was rescued by the Washington County Jail staff. It should be noted that during some part of Stacy's incarceration in the Washington County Jail, prior to his confession and directions to where Michael's body was, Stacy was out of custody and living back at the house on Red Wing Street, as evidenced by her being there when law enforcement arrived to execute the search warrant. Stacy could have had the time and ability to move any evidence from the property without Stacy's knowledge. In June of 2022, Sarah called Kay Ramsey from jail and spoke about spouses being able to testify against each other. In a recorded phone call from the Washington County Jail to Sarah, Stacy expressed concern that Sarah was going to turn on Stacy. Sarah confirmed that Stacy was referring to Michael Vaughan. Sarah told Stacy that she had already told her attorney that she wasn't going to turn on Stacy and that she wasn't going to testify against him. Stacy then reassured Sarah he would never testify against her. As the search warrant was executed on November 12th, Stacy described the exact location as to where to find Michael buried in the backyard in the residence. He instructed detectives through video chat. Sarah Wondra, who was located in the residence at the time, was detained. As officers read to her the search warrant, Sarah made several statements. "Wow, that is a lot. I definitely did not kill that boy. The Most High God already told me who did it so. Oh, wow, the Most High God just told me that Stacy was the one who killed him and he buried him in the yard of Carson's house." She also said that, quote, the Most High God told her Stacy was the one that killed him and he buried him. Quote, "The Most High God just told me that Stacy was the one who did it. He wants me to make sure you understand that I had nothing to do with it. He said that Stacy buried him in the backyard by the shed. It wasn't actually Stacy who harmed the boy." As officers started to search the residence, Sarah asked several times if the officers had, quote, found him yet. ISP and Ada County Sheriff's Office assisted with the execution of the search warrant at the Wondra residence along with 5 separate certified cadaver canines. Prior to officers digging in the backyard of the Wondra residence, cadaver canines were employed and alerted in the backyard. A total of 5 cadaver dogs were deployed, and all 5 alerted inside the Wondra backyard in the approximate area of where Stacy claimed he witnessed Sarah and Adrian bury Michael. Neither Michael nor any human remains were located during the execution. Prior to excavating the backyard, law enforcement noted there were several areas in the yard that appeared to be filled in with dirt or resodded. Kay and Ed Ramsey reported they had filled the areas in the yard where Sarah and Stacy's dog had dug holes. At various interviews after the disappearance of Michael Vaughan, Stacy was asked what happened to his and Sarah's cell phones from July of 21. Stacy said that Sarah wanted to, quote, detract attentions so we were not on the radar. And that was the reason they sold the phones. When asked if there was evidence of the crime on the phones, Stacy said there were text messages. Investigation revealed that the Wondras changed their phones approximately 3 times in a 5-month period. Stacy described purchasing SIM cards to put in his cell phone to evade law enforcement. The GMC was subsequently repossessed for non-payment. Stacy then called Kim's Cars, wanting the truck back or to borrow it. He also told them to hurry up and sell it. Stacy further advised that they sold the Lexus. They had a hard time at the time Michael Vaughan was abducted. Within a few weeks of Michael's disappearance, the Wondra's iCloud data revealed Stacy and Sarah's searched for rental houses in other states, financial assistance in different areas. Additionally, a photo of items boxed up was taken on July 30th, 2021, as if they were preparing to move. In summation, this is the last paragraph. Stacy confessed that the 4 members of the household, Stacy Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Brandon Shurtleff, and Adrian Lucin, were all involved in the abduction and killing of Michael Vaughan. Their home is in the neighborhood adjacent to the home where Michael lived and was last seen. Their neighbor, Dorothy Stark, saw Michael riding a tricycle near the Wondra home at the time Michael went missing. That same tricycle was seen in the Wondra garage prior to the abduction. That tricycle was discarded outside the neighborhood off a bluff after Michael went missing. Kay Ramsey, Sarah Wondra's mother, claimed to have found it and moved it to the entrance of the neighborhood, which is refuted by the fact that another neighbor, unrelated to the case, claimed to have found it and placed it there. Kay's story also does not account for the fact that the tricycle was in the house before being discarded and before Michael went missing. Live scent track dogs were deployed, and the only house they showed interest in was the Wondra house. That same dog showed interest in the area where Michael went missing from and the area where the tricycle was discarded. Based on the foregoing, your affiant is requesting that Stacy Wondra be charged with kidnapping and murder in the first degree, as well as the concealment of evidence. That is just so hard to read, so hard to believe that this took place. And as I said, they have built their case, and now James Wondra will be back in court. I'm looking at other things that have been filed just in the past few minutes, in the past few days, I should say. It looks like, yeah, we have here, this is his waiver of extradition. And so this is showing that he waived extradition. And now we wait even longer for the continued things in this case. He's being held no bond in Payette County, Idaho, and he's been appointed a state public defender. And it's likely that this will be a death. Well, I don't know if they filed a motion about death penalty yet. It can be very, very hard to have a death penalty case without a body. So I don't know if they'll go for the death penalty case, but either way, we'll stay on top of it. I don't see this going to trial at least for another year. And it looks like the other suspects will be getting charged, or that's what this insinuates, a probable cause, unless they flip and tell all, and someone knows where, 4 people likely know where Michael's body is. So we'll see how this unfolds, but I'll stay on top of it. I'll bring you the updates as this develops over the next few months and years. Just such a tragic, tragic story. You always hear, statistics show, that the child abusers, the ones that go after children, 9 times out of 10 are in the family. It is very rare for a stranger to just abduct a child or do something horrific like this to a child. But when you hear it, it just, as a parent, it scares me. It does. I mean, you never know. And that's why you have to be safe, but not too safe. It's just so sad. And a lot of these happen online too. Obviously, Michael was only 5, so he wasn't online. But here he was looking for a friend to play with. And he's gone. And anyway, that's the latest in the Stacy Wondra case. We'll see what further charges come down. I believe if this goes to trial, I don't know if it will be held in Payette County. Maybe it will, if they can get enough jurors, but they will likely end up moving it to Boise. Maybe over to East Idaho in Idaho Falls. It might be our turn to take a high-profile case. So thank you for putting up. That was a long document, but I felt it was important for you to read and see exactly what the investigators have and what they're working with in this case. I want to move over to the other case that we're going to talk about tonight. This is actually somewhat of a sad, similar case of a 13-year-old girl who vanished and was found dead in a dumpster. And this happened 13 years ago. Her name, Claudia Lucero. Justin Lum, who many of you know from Daybell coverage, who I've become friends with over the years, he has been working on this for several months, and I want to show you, it's a documentary that's coming out, that's actually out on the Fox 10 Phoenix YouTube channel. Don't go there yet. Stay here. When we're done, you can jump over and watch it. But here is a trailer. Here's a preview of the documentary, No Way to Die.
911 emergency.
Hi, we have an emergency. I think we found a dead body in the dumpster.
14-year-old Claudia Ann Lucero's body was found Friday.
It's just hard to believe that someone would actually get her body and just throw her in the trash.
It would be devastating for any parent to know this is what happened to their child. Just discarded, I mean.
She didn't deserve what he did. 11 years that it took to finally get the justice. Nothing's gonna bring her back. And all I have left of her is memories and photos. The last thing I told her was, I love you.
A 14-year-old girl who will never know graduating from high school.
I don't think I'll ever heal from this. We got justice for her, but that doesn't bring her back. The pain doesn't go away, and it never will, but she just didn't deserve that.
Now, I had a chance to Zoom with Justin earlier, and here is our conversation about this story. Joining me now, Justin Lum. He's followed a case closely. You may have heard of, but now it's over. Justin, Daybell case. How you feeling? You over it?
It's been, has it been months? It's been a
July
while.
was the sentencing. Yeah.
And yeah, we've checked in with each other. We've both been busy, but it was good to move on and have the closure, and obviously the closure and the justice for all the families involved. But to just really be able to focus on other stories, it feels like for 5 years we were juggling everything. We talked about that, but it was such a marathon and such a saga. But I feel good. It's good to be back here and talking to you about another story that we're working on.
Yeah, give me the background. How did you find out about this new documentary that's going to be coming out? Actually, I believe it's out now. So it was released today, Wednesday. And what was the background? How did you find out about it?
So it was a high-profile case back in 2013, murder of a 14-year-old girl. Her name is Claudia Lucero, and the way she was found was just horrific. She was found in a dumpster in Mesa, Arizona. She had been reported missing by her family. She was supposed to be at school and go to a friend's house after school. It's just a normal routine, a normal childhood, and she's found in a dumpster. So this was a high profile case. And as you know, with capital trials, it takes years, several years. So by the time there was actually justice for her, by the time the killer was actually found guilty and sentenced to death, it was January 2025. So we always knew about this case, and I felt like her name was slowly being forgotten. And all we heard was the defendant's name. His name is Alex Madrid, and now he's on death row. So I reached out to the mother. I had learned that she had never talked about the case publicly because she didn't want to go physically on camera. She was okay with speaking, just not with her face on camera. And I could understand that. It deals with a lot of guilt, shame, grief. And we started reaching out to other people who were tied to the case, like the retired death investigator who responded to the scene. We talked to Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell about the long wait for justice for these families. And we also talked to Claudia's best friend. So I just felt like it was time to bring her name to the forefront. And as we started compiling these interviews and going through archived stories and packages, as you know, it's very interesting to see stories from 10, 15 years ago and the way it was edited, the way it looked. And I said, well, we may have a little documentary here. So we've been working on that since January 2025, off and on, but excited that it's out now, streaming No Way to Die, The Murder of Claudia Lucero.
Yeah, it's interesting to go back, as you said, a decade and a half, to look at a case that may have been in the headlines back then, but so many people now don't remember it. Or if they do remember it, there's probably more information that now the families and the loved ones are willing to say. They might feel a little bit more open rather than at the time when it happened.
Yeah, you know that feeling where you may know the case, but you have to explain that case to a viewer or somebody because it may ring a bell, but they really don't have the hard details, the facts, the information. And so at this time in 2013, I was, I think I was just graduating college. I wasn't in Arizona. So I had to do my research as well and find out how it impacted the community. This girl, Claudia, classmates and friends at her high school in Mesa, they were shaken because how did she just end up in the trash? If not for two women who were actually dumpster diving on this December morning in 2013. They were dumpster diving for cans, to be honest. And that's how she was discovered. And you know that there is a routine scheduled pickup for any dumpster. And this was a scheduled pickup for the next day. So it was a matter of timing. If these women did not stumble upon Claudia's body, she could have been a missing person forever. Because where she would have been headed next. And so this investigation then, the arrest happened just days later, but the killer, now convicted killer on death row, Alex Madrid, was the ex-boyfriend of Claudia's mother. And so you start to peel back the layers and find out more dark secrets that Claudia was actually very afraid for her safety. She was afraid of him, and she claimed to have been sexually abused. And in this case, she was, because there was DNA found, and that was revealed in trial. There was DNA found on her linked to the killers. So she had been raped, strangled, and thrown in the trash.
Mm.
Just horrific, horrific.
Was it in retaliation against her mother?
You know, I don't think so. It seems like this was a relationship that had gone south because yeah, when it happened, obviously they had broken up. Somehow he still had access to the door. There
Oh,
was no sign of forced entry. So we go through those details. I went through the police report. I was invited by Mesa PD. Instead of getting the report emailed to me or whatnot, I actually went there and got to sit in Mesa PD's office since this had all been adjudicated and done with, and got to look through the files, some of the images um, of the dumpster, of the bin she was found in. There were texts, there were Facebook messages that she had sent, texts sent by Alex Madrid to her mother when this happened, because basically she was reported a missing person, and he sort of gave her this reassuring tone because he was, acting like nothing had happened. He had done nothing wrong. So you see these things, and looking back, it's very disturbing, not just going through the police report, but going through court records and seeing this man's criminal history. He was a dangerous man, and he was brought into this home, and this girl was very afraid and didn't really reveal all that to her loved ones. And it's a very sad case, and it just came to me, the title, No Way to Die. I mean, this was just no way to be treated at all.
yeah. So did it actually go to trial or did he plea out?
Now, this went to trial. Finally, it took about 11 years since this happened in 2013. Maricopa County Attorney, files the notice to seek the death penalty. By the time trial came, it's October 2024. He's found guilty of all the charges against him, including first-degree murder. And then, as you know, you go through the guilt phase, the penalty phase, and the jury sentenced him to death in January 2025. So when you have these capital cases, it can take a long, long time. And I think victims' loved ones are very, they want justice, but they also get tired of seeing the continuation of hearings and trials. We're sort of used to this because we report on these reschedulings and court hearings, and you just say, okay, well, see you next time, see you in a
Yeah.
month and whatnot. But for the families, you can just imagine that frustration. Just when is this going to be over? When are we going to even get the closure that we deserve?
Right. And I mean, 11 years, that seems forever in
Yeah.
their eyes. And the fact that he took it all the way to trial. What was his defense? Did he have
It's
one?
I don't think there was much of a defense because of the DNA
Yeah.
evidence. It's just a disclaimer, there's some graphic details in this documentary, but you can imagine the DNA evidence found on Claudia matching to this man on her body, and DNA found in the dumpster, in the basically the bag, the plastic bag, fingerprints, and there was a lot of evidence there that matched to him. And so we go through that sequence of events of what led to the charges, because initially he was arrested on a probation violation. He led cops on a quick little pursuit, I should say. But they knew that this was a person of interest, that he was going to be the primary suspect. So arrested on unrelated charges, and then it turned into the murder charge, kidnapping, sexual conduct with a minor. And so there are definitely a lot of graphic details. It's hard to hear, but I think it's important for us to focus on the victim and what happened to her. Because, like I said, a lot of people just didn't know who the victim was. All you hear is Alex Madrid trial, Alex Madrid capital trial. That becomes a thing after so many years of waiting through the court system, as you know.
How is the family doing today?
It was very, I think, therapeutic for the mother to finally speak to the press. She had told me that, other reporters had asked to interview with her, but you get those interviews where people just don't want their face on camera. Um, she was ready to talk. She said that when she said she didn't want to be on camera, that those interview requests were withdrawn, which I found to be strange. I get it. We work in this visual medium where, we talk to people face to face, we put them on camera, but I said, okay, if you just want your voice recorded, that's fine with me. We want to tell your side of the story. This family, I think, especially the mother, they deal with some guilt because they wonder, why did I not see these red flags? Why did Claudia not reveal to me that this man was hurting her? How did I not know? And in this interview, Claudia's mother, Joanne Lucero, says, she was working a lot and just not even paying attention. She admits that, and she carries this guilt, and she says she's going to have this for the rest of her life, and she wishes she could go back in time. And it's really sad. You do feel for her and the regret that she has.
Yeah, especially, you're dating or were dating the suspect, the one that kills your daughter.
Yeah.
Justin, what was the biggest surprise to you when you were putting this all together?
It's a good question. I would say the biggest surprise to me
Or what
was
stuck out to you?
what stuck out to me was how the other people that I interviewed, like Claudia's best friend and really this death investigator, his name is Farrell Swope, he worked for the county medical examiner, how they carried this for so long. They cannot shake it. This death investigator, we went to the dumpster, the same spot where she was found. It's like all these memories flooded back. And he told me that at the time his daughter was about the same age as Claudia. And he went to the funeral and he followed the case. And when you get tied to something, experience something, even if that's not your loved one, your family member, your friend, you feel this attachment and you feel like you have to follow the milestones through. And so it's always stayed with him. And I think that's why he finally agreed to speaking about it. The only way I found this death investigator is because he commented on Claudia's Facebook page. There's a Facebook page in her name. Rest in peace, Claudia Lucero has a lot of people in the community that have followed the case. And so when justice was finally brought, he commented and basically sort of, I think, felt this relief and wanted to say, I was there, I feel for you. I'm so glad you have justice. And so I reached out to him and that's how we got that interview. But I think, yeah, I say all that to say how something I think we can relate, how much it's like a part of your life. It becomes such a big moment, something that really had nothing to do with you, but you never expected it to be, brought to you face to face. So yeah, it was very fascinating to get his take.
Right. All right. So where can people watch it?
Go to our YouTube channel, Fox 10 Phoenix. There's also the Fox local app as well. You can download that to your connected TV, fox10phoenix.com. It's now streaming. And we'll also be, if you're in the Arizona area, well, this will be aired next week, I believe, Black Friday on our secondary channel, Channel 45. But we're all in the streaming world now. Just go to our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed through our coverage of the Daybell trial, subscribe and you'll see the video streaming there. It's about 24 minutes. It's not a full, 1 hour or 2 hour documentary. But I think for a local news station, and this, Nate, with less resources to even do something of this magnitude, I think we're all really proud of that too. I think long form I think viewers appreciate that sort of journalism now, that sort of presentation to really sink our teeth into a subject in deep dive and really let things breathe, visuals, emotions, and sound, and in this world that we live in now where we're binge watching everything. So yeah, head to our YouTube channel, Fox 10 Phoenix. I really appreciate you guys if you take a look.
Yeah, I got to tell you that these things take a lot of time, and when you're a reporter like Justin and others at TV stations, that you generally don't have the freedom and the time to go spend 10 months working on a documentary. You got to set up the interviews, you got to shoot them, you got to write. I mean, it really is labor intensive. So when you can put it together and you have a station that gives you the support to do something like this, I'm impressed. And so hopefully you can go watch it and show them that you do support this type of journalism. Don't go yet. Wait till we're over. Wait till Courtroom Insider's over, and then just jump right over to Fox 10 Phoenix on YouTube, because that's where you're watching this, and click on that link, and you can watch it in 24 minutes. Justin, good seeing you. Anything you want to add?
I just appreciate you giving us the time to showcase some of our work here and to, push and support that local journalism. I think you can relate best. And being the news director, I think everyone sees you on camera and like, oh, he's this amazing reporter, but Nate is the news director. And I think that he values that support that he just talked about. It speaks to the industry where there are so many more newscasts and deadlines and the news cycle so fast on social media. It is hard, like you said, labor intensive to tell a story and put it out there in a docu-style form. I mean, when we did our Valo documentary that was an hour long, that took a long time to compile those interviews and go through all that footage, right? And you want to do it justice. We don't just slap footage together and any interview that we can get. I mean, you talk about the photographers and the editors and the work that they put in. You have a guy who just, shot a great interview that you streamed with Judge Justin Vareski, and you can see just the little details, and you appreciate that when you have photojournalists and editors that pay so much attention to the quality of the work. And I think viewers do see that journalism matters. And, it's just evolving in the way that we digest it, the way that we consume it, and how it's presented. So anyways, I thank you for your time. This show's great to do that sort of thing where you can have those long conversations and learn something.
Right. Hey, Justin, what's the name of that restaurant we went to during the trial? That Mexican restaurant that was really good?
Blanca.
Blanca, have you been back?
Blanca. No, I haven't. I haven't had that. That was our only
I know.
dinner.
The only time we've had dinner in 5 years. I'm
We
thinking
have
about
to
it right
do it.
now. I'm getting hungry. I wish there was one down the street.
That was a good spot. And yeah, you got to find your way back for another case. I always joke with Nate that he needs like a bureau here.
Right.
There's always this Arizona, Idaho connection, sadly, to a lot of these cases. I don't know why that is. I always try to see, like, what is it about Arizona, Utah, Idaho?
Even the story we were just talking about, Michael Vaughan, he was arrested in Maricopa County, of course.
And to be honest, I had no idea of the backstory like that. I had remembered, your posts on social media. I had remembered, this child, this victim, and then sort of recognize the face. And that's the beauty of social media too, where viewers and followers will send you stuff and tips and just say, hey, that's so and so, and then you do the legwork and you figure it out. But why? I just don't get it. So that's why you may need sort of an Airbnb bureau or something here where you can come down in the winter.
Right now would be the perfect time.
Because right now it's about 70 something degrees. We got a little bit of rain. It's nice and a little chilly. I have a jacket on. We get so excited here just to put on a jacket. It's funny. And then like we freak and we go from 115 and finally we're in the 70s and we're like, oh my God, it's freezing.
Right.
It's so cold because our body's just gets used to that extreme heat. But yeah, you're always welcome down here, and we got to go get dinner again.
Back up to Blanca. I'll tell you what, we've had a really nice fall here. I'm not complaining, but come January, we need to find a good 2-month trial that's happening that I can come and cover in Phoenix in January and February. And then
I need to find a reason to get back up to Idaho.
Right.
It was in Boise. That was the last time. It was beautiful. In downtown
come
Boise?
to East Idaho, Idaho Falls, Rexburg.
Yeah, I need to go back to Rexburg. That was I think it was eye-opening for me. If people don't know, I'm a Bay Area kid, born and raised. And so it's just, different cultures and just, your big city, San Francisco, Oakland, just commuting. And so I think that's what with this career, being able to see different places, there will be no other reason. I mean, it's just the facts. There would be no other reason that I would ever be in Rexburg, Idaho.
Right.
But, the work leads you there. And you meet so many different people, and you say, wow, all these walks of life and people from different backgrounds and just stories. And we're all we're all the same, and it's cool to see. So that's what I would say I love about this job, being able to just see these different places and meeting different people. And that's how we keep in contact pretty much weekly now. So it's awesome, man. But yeah, we got to catch up soon.
Okay, go watch go watch this documentary, not the podcast. No Way to Die on the Phoenix Fox 10 YouTube channel, or you can download the app and find it there. And Justin, nice seeing you. Take care.
All right.
Always nice catching up with Justin, whether it's through Zoom or in person at a hearing in Idaho or one in Arizona. It's good to see him. I've had many of you actually send me cases happening in Arizona, and you're like, come back and cover it. I told Erica, we got to find that good one. And we should all go as a family. If we were homeschooling our kids, we could take it on the road. I could cover crime all day and they could go out and explore. But anyway, thank you, Justin. And all of you can head over to the Fox 10 YouTube channel to check out that docuseries. I want to also take a minute and thank our sponsor, newspapers.com. I got a great email that I wanted to share with you about newspapers.com. Let me find it for you. Here we go. Nate, I'm not a great writer, so I hope not to ramble on. I've become a fan a few years ago when running across your sad Lori Vallow trial. I started watching you. She had some nice things to say about me. I won't read that. Let's see. My uncle passed away yesterday in Santa Barbara at age 94. This is from Mary. And Mary, if you're watching, my brother lives in Santa Barbara. So our paths have intertwined again. One day I have a story to tell about my brother. I get distracted. Sorry, my ADD. My little brother, I can't say much, but I've got a story to tell, and it's great about an opportunity of a lifetime that he was given. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me there. And that's all I'm going to say. Anyway, he's in Santa Barbara. Sadly, my uncle passed away yesterday at 94. He was a professional ballet dancer. And the first thing I thought of doing, was doing a photo and old newspaper montage of his life. I did this for my sister's passing 2 years ago. But how do I gather all the information? Then I remembered you talking about newspapers.com. How amazing it is that here it is at 6:30 a.m. in Southern California, and I'm writing a thank you. When I'm fully awake later this morning, my plan is to join newspapers.com, and that will give me my best chance of researching information on my Uncle Gene's life. Thank you. It's a small world. That is exactly what newspapers.com is for you to go on, research your family, relatives, friends, do background checks on people you're dating, and look back at old history, old historical stuff. You can join now at newspapers.com. They have a 7-day free trial. They also have a gift subscription special going on, 30% off through the end of the week. And it can make a great holiday gift. So thanks to newspapers.com. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you watching all this week. Of course, getting lots of feedback about my interview with Justin Boreski, Judge Boreski. If you missed it on Monday, you can go watch it on YouTube. We've got it there. Over 100,000 views already. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching yesterday when we had on the brave mother, Penny, about who turned in the sex offender who was doing not very good things to children, of course. And then tomorrow night, we will be talking about another Arizona case, the Jodi Arias case. Remember her? I was just brand new in news when this case happened, and it was crazy. Brianna Whitney from Arizona Family, a journalist down there, is going to be here to talk about a documentary she has coming out. And it is pretty eye-opening. She spent all year working on it, and we're going to talk about the Jodi Arias case tomorrow. So if you're into that, if you have questions, let me know. And then on Friday, we will be back with a story about a missing man who's been missing. His mom will be here. He's been missing for several years, and she wants answers. She's got questions, and hopefully by us doing a story and sharing with you the story, it can hopefully lead to some answers. Here's where I'm at during the day, all day, every day. Facebook, Nate Eaton Reporter. I'm on Instagram, n.eaton. I'm also on YouTube here. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed, would love if you did so. And then I'm on X, Nate News Now. Want to let you know, thank you to everybody who's purchased an East Idaho News shirt, the Secret Santa shirts, or our True Crime line. If you haven't seen it, I want to show you because they're selling super fast. You can buy them on our third-party store, but if you want to buy them directly from us, I personally package almost every single one of these shirts. I went in this morning I went to the gym at 5. I was in the office at 6, and I spent an hour packaging shirts and writing little notes to you, the people that have requested them. Here is our inventory. This is eastidahonews.com/shop. We have Believe in the Secret of Giving, hoodie, sweatshirt, and t-shirt. It's a Secret Santa, hoodie, sweatshirt, and t-shirt. Here's the ones I think you all will love. Staying Home Solving Crimes, hoodie again, sweatshirt, t-shirt. This is our most popular, and they're almost gone. I'm just here for the evidence. Hoodie, sweatshirt, and t-shirt. Those are like nearly gone. I think we'll probably be sold out of those by this weekend. So if you want one, these prices include shipping. That's a flat fee, $25, $40, or $50, shipping anywhere in America. Put a little note in the note section, and I'll write a note to you if you want, or for your friend or whoever. And then we also have the mugshot shirts. They're back in stock. We also have hoodies and sweatshirts for the mugshots that we're going to be posting soon. And then we have our other Secret Santa swag. So if you're interested in that, again, eastidahonews.com/shop. If you're watching outside of America, you can order through our third-party store, and we'll get you some of our swag. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.